Well, hello everybody out there in horse trimming land. My name is Craig Morley, and I wanted to share with some of you that have been asking a lot of questions about what do I do with horses' feet that are really, really hard. I live in Bakersfield, California. It is very hot and dry here. So our horses' feet are always rock hard. And there's a lot of things you can do. Soaking and other tricks of the trade. I'm a big fan of power tools, and the main two tools that I use are the Dewalt 20-volt brushless angle grinder with a 40 grit sanding disc, or 36 grit actually, and sometimes I switch it out for a 40 grit flap disc. Kind of use both sometimes. And then I also use a 20-volt Dewalt cutout tool for working on bars and other stuff, where basically this is my rasp, this is my knife. And I don't care how hard your horse's hoof is, that's not a problem for me anymore. Okay? Now, I'm not going to include on this video how to introduce your horse to using power tools. I've done that in another video, so if you're interested, you can find that and watch it. The point of this video is these are pretty powerful tools. I love using them, and if you're doing a lot of horses, or you really need to work quickly, this is what you want to use. But they're big, they're a little bit heavy. The grinder is I've never had problems with any horses with the grinder. Okay. I love the paddle switch. This is called the paddle switch, and you release the switch and it stops. Okay. These are brushless tools. The noise on this one is not bad. Okay, most horses, once I introduce them to it, no problem. This one, on the other hand, is quite a bit louder. And it's just straight from 0 to 2,500 RPM. And there's no paddle switch. It's just an on-off here with your thumb, your finger on the other side. And so if the horse bumps you or moves or drops their foot or whatever, and you kind of let go with your fingers, this is not turning off. That scares some people, and I totally understand. Just recently, I discovered these two tools by Milwaukee. They're both die grinders. All the companies have made pretty much battery or cordless die grinders, but Milwaukee is the only one who's made them small. Okay, you can see this is what they call their 2-inch right angle die grinder, and this is the 2-inch straight angle die grinder. They both have paddle switches with a safety mechanism. You have to slide this little switch forward to release. Same thing on this. The beauty is that they're smaller and more maneuverable for those of you that are just getting started. Maybe you only have 1 or 2, 3 horses to do. But also, and perhaps more importantly, they have a paddle switch, they are variable speed, and they're quieter. Now my faithful horse here, Indiana, he's actually never heard this one because I just bought it. Okay, I usually use the big guy on him. Okay, and so he's like, oh, what's that? And then he's like, no big deal. So this is really nice. You can control the speed that you're working at with your bit. and it's just quieter, okay? It's lighter, it's easy to handle, especially compared to that cutout tool. Here's the right angle die grinder. Now this is go up to 24,500 RPM. It's a little bit noisier than the other, but it's not too bad. Okay, here's my regular Dewalt grinder. And here's the Milwaukee. Dewalt, Milwaukee. So at the fastest RPM, it's just about as loud. However, this is kind of bulky. You're using both arms, you're trying to hold up a hoof, working with one arm. It's heavy, it's tiring, it's powerful. This really gets the job done. I love it, but this is so much easier to handle, right? It's not heavy, it's smaller, it's very easy to work with just your thumb on the paddle, and you can hold their foot and trim, do what you want. This is a 3-inch sanding disc. This is a 4.5-inch sanding disc. However, because of the retaining mechanism in the middle, the 3-inch actually provides a greater sanding area. So I highly recommend, at Home Depot, I found these in a combo pack where I got a charger, a 4-amp battery, this one, and both die grinders. And then I bought this 6-amp battery, which I would highly recommend, which you'll need. You'll need to have 2 batteries, obviously, if you want to work with them simultaneously. These batteries do not last anywhere near as long as my 20-volt 6-amp Dewalt batteries, but that's kind of to be expected. They're about 2 to 3 times as big, they're heavy, and they last a long time. But these easily will last for 1 to 2 trims before you got to do a recharge. All right, so here's my Dewalt 20-volt grinder. Let's say that I'm gonna, bring down his heels a tiny bit. Etc. And I would get to work. And let's say that I need to straighten up this bar a little bit, clean it up, trim it down, whatever. Etc. And that's the Dewalt. Always wear safety gloves, glasses. Okay, so I'm going to start it slow. I've never trimmed Indy with this before. I'm going to let him hear it, warm it up. Now you'll notice it cut off. That's because it's not as powerful. It's just a safety mechanism it has. So those of you that are worried, there you go. This also has 4 speeds on it right here. Right now I'm on speed 2, so it doesn't wind up as high. I'm going to switch it to speed 3. Okay, so you can see that is 100 grit disc. I would probably go back to my 40. And then this is the straight die grinder. And you can see that was a piece of cake. Let me show on this side so I can get my arm out of the way a little bit. By the way, it has an LED light on it. That's a very nice feature. And there we go. Hooking it up is simple. This is, you can buy these little packs at Harbor Freight, off of Amazon, down at Lowe's, wherever. And you just screw in the shank here to your sanding pad and take a little wrench, crank it down, and there's your sanding pad. And then you can buy different discs. This is a 2-inch. This is a 3-inch. And you have a little threaded hole there in the middle. And you have a little threaded piece on the back of that. And you just screw that on, tighten it down, ready to go. Easy.